pan fried, deep fried, stir fried. There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich. That's about it.
What's with the neighbors? What's with the neighbors? What's with the neighbors? What's with the neighbors? What's with the neighbors?
He didn't say cocktail shrimp.
You're right. He also didn't say shrimp Creole because my shirt says shrimp Creole on it.
Creole.
Shrimp Creole, shrimp kebab, shrimp gumbo, pan fried shrimp, stir fried shrimp, deep fried shrimp. Anyway, I'm wearing my Forrest Gump shrimp shirt.
It's
You're
really
welcome,
cute.
people. Now everybody wants shrimp. I want shrimp really bad. I want some fried shrimp. I'm surprised we haven't had it yet since the in-laws have been in town. I say it like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. I like my in-laws, people. They're cool.
How are they the ones that determine if you have shrimp or not?
So no one, well, the girls kind of like shrimp, but I don't feel like I don't want to, I don't want to buy it here because it's expensive and they probably won't eat that much. And going through the whole ordeal of having to fry it myself is just sounds like so much work. I also like it grilled though too.
You could get. I wonder if you can take like cocktail shrimp and turn it into grilled shrimp.
I
Is
mean,
that-
I love
is that not-
cocktail shrimp. We had cocktail shrimp already. Him and I. Oh yeah, we have had shrimp. Me and his dad to like tackled on the cocktail shrimp from Costco.
Oh,
I love those.
yeah. I'll get Alice. Well, not anymore, but when Safeway or Fred Meyer's had like a sale or something,
Oh,
I
I could
get
eat
her.
those. I could eat that for days for all my lunches. I love it.
All your lunches.
All of the lunches. How are you today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Let me put my mic down a little bit so you can see my chin.
We
I have a
have-
chin.
Did you watch all my Snapchats that I sent you?
Yeah, you sent me so many Snapchats. Hi
I
to
gave you a
Candy,
tour of
by
the
the
house.
way. Trailer. Anyway, Amy
Yes,
lives in a really
trailer.
nice trailer, guys.
It
It's
is
super nice.
pristine.
It is a beautiful trailer. Also, cool, freaking bear rugs everywhere, and her house looks like PETA would not approve of her house. There's dead animals everywhere.
Everywhere. There's one in my room.
Yeah, there's like a giant bear rug thing in her parents. Was it your parents' room? I think no.
My
or was it the
parents'.
living room?
That was my parents.
There's bears and there's lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, and elk.
And elk. Just elk also.
And there's some dogs. Sorry.
We have a shout out we have to do. Shout out to Dan Cook.
Oh, what up, Dane Cook? I think you're awesome, and I didn't realize you were gonna go back on tour. That's pretty cool.
He gave us a shout out on his Facebook Live.
Yeah, little old
Oh.
us, and it wasn't just like cool. Oh, WWTM podcast. Oh, Sarah Michelle 123. It was
Yeah.
like a personalized shout out
very
from what Amy
yeah.
told me.
Yes. And I couldn't record it, because I didn't know he was going to say anything to me. So,
Well, Dane Cook is the shit.
yeah.
I quote him a lot.
Yes. I quote him when it comes to the Monopoly game. Like-
I quote him on so many things, but one thing I always quote him on is I just want to do a B&E, some bacon
Yeah.
and eggs. No. Breaking and entering. I would go see him live. Like, I don't know. I told Josh last night that it was like a toss up between Matt Rife and Dane Cook, but like right now, Matt Rife is one of my favorite comedians because
Yeah.
he roasts people and that's amazing. And like, you have to have some really good talent if you can like think of things right off the spot to insult people.
Right.
But like, Dane Cook was always like my number one. me and Josh have listened to him on numerous road trips.
I have something sad to tell you.
Oh.
Adam Devine.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
He
I don't know him
did
personally.
stand up. I do, actually. So there's that. But he did a stand up comedy that I just watched the night before last
On Netflix?
on Netflix. And he's not that funny.
Oh. I love him, though. He's so
I
funny.
know.
He's such a silly
mean,
guy. He's a good when
things
it's
that
given to him.
yeah, I don't know. It was like weird to see him in that, like, a different type of aspect.
Yeah.
And like the things that he was saying was funny, but like the way he delivered it, it was like, I don't know.
I'll have
Like
to try
I
it.
laughed
I'll have
at
to take a look
I
at it.
I watched a couple I laughed at like all of his jokes, but the delivery was just not there. I don't know. I wasn't
Okay.
like slapping my knee and laughing.
It's not for everybody, Adam Devine. He's a great
okay.
guy.
Yeah, he is. Okay. So
Sorry. This is our podcast, everybody. What's with the neighbors? And that's Amy.
welcome. That's great.
That was a long intro.
That was. I have a question for you.
Okay, I have a question for you too. I just remembered it when you said that.
Whoa, good job, Bree.
Thanks.
So if you had to join a cult, what would it be for? Like any cult.
Like, what do you
Like,
mean?
you
Like
just
religious
make
purposes or like?
whatever.
I guess they're all
Like
kind of
card
religious.
collecting. Like if you were to like create
Harry Potter, for
I
sure.
knew you were gonna say Harry Potter.
If I got to be like, if there was like a cult where we believed we were actually wizards, I would do it. I'd be
believe that.
like, they'd be like, hey, we need your social security number and a vial of your blood, and I'd be like, already got it. There you go.
It's like that.
Sorry,
Goodbye, Charlotte. You're gone forever.
Gryffindor. Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
What would you do?
I don't know. So I wrote this question and I was like, thought about it and then I forgot. I don't know. Right now, maybe like, I don't know.
You know what I could see you as? I could
What?
see you joining a cult for being on if you were promised to be on reality TV for it. Because you would be perfect for that.
That would be so good.
You just have such a bright personality.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I love it. I am going to stick with that one. Reality TV.
Or something with cats.
cult.
But you probably wouldn't like the smell, so, you know.
No. Today I made my mom change the calendar.
Oh, Candy. Thanks, Candy.
I just instantly started gagging. She's like, I got it.
She's such a good mama.
I know.
I love her.
My kid needs to come back.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So are you going
wait, your question. I have a question for you.
Oh.
What's the
Okay.
most childish thing that you eat?
That's a good one.
I thought about it
Oh, I
earlier
was-
this week when I was eating something
I-
very childish.
Okay. There's a couple. I don't know. Probably like the cup of macaroni and cheese.
That is pretty childish,
Yeah.
but they're delicious also.
They're so good.
And it's all in there too. It's so easy.
It's so
all made.
easy. Yeah. What is yours?
I still, even as an adult, if I have sweet tea on hand, like iced sweet tea, and I
Uh-huh.
make ramen noodles, chicken ramen noodles, I'll pour some of my sweet tea in it and like mix it together. It's really weird, but I do it. I've done it ever since I was a kid.
Gross.
Also, I
That's
really love gummy
gross.
worms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gummy worms. But I don't think I guess that is kind of a childish.
And
candy.
chicken nuggets, but
Yeah.
I'd say the tea thing is probably the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were just
Well,
gonna say like the cup of
if you're
noodles.
embarrassed to do it, then there's a problem.
That's
I just
true.
go hoard my sweet tea with my noodles and like pour it in there. I think I did it as a kid as to cool it down because there was ice in my tea, so I just like accidentally pour a bunch of tea in there, and I'm like, that's pretty good. So sweet tea and chicken ramen noodles is pretty good, guys.
I love that.
Thank you.
Was not expecting that.
I figured not.
Okay, so you're going first this week because I went first last week.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So I have a neighborhood story for you.
Okay.
I got this from Reddit. It said, I had a neighbor who is also an alcoholic or druggie who thought there were two women living in my house. I had dyed my hair blonde from brunette. He continually asked where the brunette was and how she was doing. I finally just said, she is fine.
There's two people here.
Like, can you imagine? Like,
Son
there's
of a
no one else. And he's
biscuit.
like, oh,
Did it
where's
again.
the brunette?
That was funny. I liked it. There's two people living in the house, but there's not.
I'm just tired of telling him there's nobody, so I'm just gonna go ahead and whatever.
I can just picture like someone walking past the door like as a brunette and then walking back at it as a blonde. I would probably think there were two people living there too.
That's
It's like
that makes sense.
it's like a 90s change montage thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm so excited to hear your story, Brie.
All right. So this week I'm doing a story on the ancient castle called the Griffith Castle in
What?
England. Oh, just wait. I know you've never heard of it. It's okay.
No, but it makes me think of Gryffindor.
Oh, yeah. Griffith. Yep. Kind of does. Okay. So this ancient castle is located in the Scottish Highlands, not far from Dufftown in Banffshire. It was built in the later early Middle Ages. This is like super like later early Middle Ages. Can you guys just stick to a time? In 993. Super old, 993. So I don't even know that was a year. By a group of like-minded individuals, Henry Griffith, Helga Birch, Rowena Smith, and Shaw Sullivan. The four founders wanted to provide a place where homeless school-age children could be cared for and educated. Essentially like an orphanage / boarding school. Like a halfway, I don't know, sent them away. Parents just sent them away. It's fine. They don't want to deal with them.
As they did in the 900s.
It's totally normal. So the castle is known as Griffith Castle. It is a massive 7-story castle with many towers and even some dungeons, of course. Fun fact, there are rooms in the castle that have not even been discovered, and some have even, like, after they discovered them, they lost them, which is weird. Like, how do you lose a room? I know. They just, like, forgot they forgot how to get to it. It was built in... yeah. It was built in a valley on self-sufficient property that's surrounded by mountains and a large lake that provided for the occupants and many gardens. Along with normal living, it also held an infirmary to treat the sick and injured. The castle's main entrance is made up of beautiful large oak doors holding many grand staircases, an armory, a clock, and a bell tower, a library, and more. This place is massive.
Whoa. Yeah.
Since it was so long ago, I don't know what the cost was to build it, but it's estimated today that it would be worth over $170 million. So it's got lots. Yeah. Fun fact, Griffith Castle holds 142 staircases. That's a lot of staircases. But I wonder if like some of them are like a step into a room. I don't know. Okay.
But I bet their butts look good going up and down all those stairs.
Right?
All of the stair stepping.
Them teachers or professors, I guess, would have like them work out. They'd have their steps in. Okay, so what's Donkey say? I'm the stand master, the master of the stairs. I'll step right here, right here, right here. Okay, so there's lots of deaths there, or kind of like having to do with it. Throughout
Mhm.
its history, many things have happened in relation to the castle. So I'm just going to tell you some of them that I have read about.
Okay.
First, we have, my good, a man named Sir Nicholas de Memsey Porpington. Sir
Poopington.
Nicholas de Memsey Porpington attended Griffith Castle in his youth, and when he grew up, he was a bit of a snob. He was a part of Henry VII's court until he attempted to make one of the ladies that Henry was like courting prettier. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. Like, what do you do to like try to give her a makeover? I don't know. I don't know. But
Well, okay, so back then they would use like plants for makeup.
oh, well,
So
this was for her
I feel like-
teeth.
Oh,
Because I guess her teeth weren't very straight either. So yeah, now that I say that, yeah. Yeah. So I guess
they
they're like
braces back then?
it's like just he just like had a like something to pull on it and had his horse and carriage pull her teeth straight. Henry did not
Oh.
like this, so he because it was his girl. So unfortunately, this led to Sir Nicholas's execution by beheading, and it was actually on Halloween Day in 1492. Unfortunately, it did not go
He
so
literally
smoothly.
killed somebody over
Yeah,
a makeover.
I know. So stupid. Like, we're just trying to make your lady beautiful, man. We're just trying to doll her up.
Okay.
So the execution didn't go so smoothly. When they wanted to take off his head, the knife or the axe was super dull, and the sharpener, they didn't have the sharpener around. So it took 45 times to take off his head, and they left an inch of skin that still had his head connected to the rest of his body.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was a really brutal death.
Oh.
All right, so that was him. The next one is a Helena Smith. She was the daughter of one of the founders of the castle, Rowena Smith. In her time of attending Griffith Castle, she stole her mother's crown and fled to Albania. Not long after she left, her mother became deathly ill, and she just wanted her daughter back. So she sent one of Helena's like longtime admirers after her. She's like, "Go get my daughter, bring her home. I need to say goodbye to her." And so she sent this like Lord Baron Abigor. His name is Abigor. He's a lord or a baron or whatever. But she sent him to find her and bring her back. And when he found her, she was hiding in the woods, and she refused to go with him. So it made him mad, and he stabbed her in the chest. And he loved her, like he was in love with her, even though he did this. So he was like in such remorse that he ended up taking his own life as well.
Bree.
I know. It's so depressing. It's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of
Oh my
sort of
gosh.
really brutal
Yeah.
one. The next person I have is a Franklin Newcomb. He was, or Newcomb, I think it's Newcomb, was a student at Griffith Castle as well, who was known for his nobility and apparently really liked to eat, so he's a pretty big guy.
Right.
Once he finished school, he joined the clergy as a part of a mendicant religious order, which meant he spent his life begging for charity. However, he was also able to...
isn't that just like
a beggar?
Yeah.
I mean, like, from how I see it is like he like begged but like gave it away. Because it said it was for charity, so I don't know. But
I took that as like charity for himself.
Maybe. I don't know. Because he was like a really nice guy, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. But he was also like a really good guy and like helped the sick, and he was really good at like healing people. So much so that it became suspicious, and of course in like the 900s, 800s, like people were like, "Ooh, you're a witch."
Yeah.
Typical. So he was killed. I don't know how, but he was killed.
Isn't that just considered a doctor?
Yeah, a witch doctor.
A witch doctor. I don't call it a doctor.
A Professor Benz, while teaching at the school, actually died in front of his fire in front of the fire in the staff room, but just like fell asleep and never woke up again because he was so old, and he just like fell asleep, never woke up again, and he's just like died of old age. Like that's the most peaceful thing I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Last
Thanks.
one I have is a Muriel Warren, who was a student at Griffith Castle in the early 1940s, way ahead of time now.
Yeah.
Was hiding in the lavatory, went quite a few years without any deaths. So like, oh crap, now we got to mark one. Been so
Dang
many
it.
years since this incident. She was hiding in the lavatory because she was being bullied by a classmate, and when she heard someone come into the loo, she was
So
killed.
cute.
It's still unknown who her murderer is today, or was today. So they don't know who killed her, but something killed her. Someone killed her. She was killed.
In the loo.
Yeah. I don't know how. It didn't give details about how she was killed. Like, I don't know if she was stabbed or like poisoned or what, but I don't know.
That's so sad.
I know. Okay. So I have got to some paranormal for you.
Well, there's got to be some ghosts and.
Oh,
What did we
there's
used to
so
say?
many. Griffith Castle.
No, we
In
used
the
to
19
say. We used to say.
Oh, you can't
Yes.
have any ghosts without any deaths.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not sure who to put with this particular haunting, but it's believed to be a poltergeist actually. So like a
No.
super busy ghost that constantly is like tormenting stuff. The
Right.
staff would refer to this particular poltergeist as Petey, who appeared to be a little man dressed in obnoxious clothing, including a bell-covered hat and an orange bow tie. So like a jingle like Joker hat essentially is what I'm picturing.
Right.
Petey was known to sneak around the corridors of the castle and in the classrooms, causing nothing but mischief and trouble. In 1876, it was documented that one of the caretakers attempted to exorcise this poltergeist, and as a result, many weapons went missing. So the school was evacuated because they had no idea what happened to them. They're like, "Oh my God, Petey's coming back to us! Like he's gonna kill us all." So
No,
they
not
evacuated the
Petey!
school, and the caretaker quit.
Jeez.
Helena Smith, who was killed, has been seen in a gown with long, dark-colored hair roaming the halls of the castle, and she is referred to as the Lady in Grey.
Okay.
A large male apparition has been seen, believed to be Franklin Newcomb. He can be seen roaming the castle as well. He's pretty harmless. An apparition of a
I
man
love that.
in
He's just
period
living his life.
just eating.
See.
I wish. You don't have to look good for anybody. Who cares? I'll have
But
another.
also, like, do you think it just the food just like goes through, like,
It literally goes through him.
yeah.
Must be nice. An apparition of a man in period clothing with a neck collar can often be seen, which is believed to be Sir Nicholas. Also, on occasion, he removes his head, but like you can still see that it's not all the way removed. And he will like you can see like it almost looks like he's reenacting like his head being chopped off.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Tragic. All because he had to fix someone's teeth. Professor Benz, poor old guy, can be seen in his previous classroom, often entering through the blackboard, and still like seems to be like in his routine of teaching. So, furniture has been known to move or get knocked over. Disembodied voices are heard, crying and wailing in the girls' bathroom where Muriel was murdered.
Yeah. Wait.
Lights.
Muriel?
Yeah, Muriel.
That was her name?
Yeah.
Myrtle.
Oh, Myrtle. Yeah, you're thinking Myrtle. Moaning Myrtle.
Myrtle.
Moaning
Yeah, okay.
Muriel. Moaning Muriel. Okay. Lights turning on and off. The feeling of getting lost in the castle. Pictures seem also like pictures, like paintings and stuff like that. Like it feels like they just like watch you and almost change. Like I know we've talked about like eyes watching you, but what they make it sound like they actually like watch you like move and stuff like that. It's really weird.
Kind of like those the statues in Haunted Mansion.
Yes, yes. Doors opening and closing, disembodied cackling and laughing, singing
No.
songs, and sometimes they rhyme. They think that that's from like Petey, like singing songs that are rhyming, like the Petey poltergeist will make up songs.
That's so weird.
Things have been thrown like bread. They believe also from Petey. And
Where's the bread coming
I
from?
know. Well, I mean, it's still like it's still a castle. Like I don't think it's like the same what it is now, but like I don't know if events are there or something.
Yeah.
Whispering and cold spots. So that's
Okay.
what I got for paranormal for you. So, as of today, Griffith Castle can be read about in the J.K. Rowling's novels Harry Potter, and also seen in the 8 movies made about these books.
Really? Wait.
It's not based on a true story. I literally just pulled Harry
You
Potter.
wrote this up?
Yeah.
Shut up.
The day after our episode comes out is Harry Potter's birthday. It's Harry Potter Day.
Oh,
It's
happy birthday,
July
Harry.
31st. So all the ghosts are Hogwarts ghosts, and most I've changed or added some like names, like Sir
Okay.
Nick, which they call Sir Nick. His name was still Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, but I figured he was called Sir Nick in the book, so I can just continue his normal name. He's in Gryffindor, and when he was sentenced to death, it was because he was actually trying to straighten Henry V's girl's teeth, but it was out of magic, and he accidentally made them into tusks, like walrus tusks. So he wasn't very good with his charms. Fun fact: Sir Nick wrote a ballad about his own demise, titled "The Ballad of Nearly Headless Nick."
Oh.
I'm in my prime right now. Okay.
You
Helena
are.
Smith is actually based on Helena Ravenclaw. I'm sure everybody, like big Harry Potter fans, were just like, weird. That's so weird. That sounds just like you referenced Harry Potter multiple times. Helena Ravenclaw. Helena Smith is based on Helena Ravenclaw in the Ravenclaw house. Franklin
Okay.
Newcomb is better known as the Fat Friar in the Hufflepuff house. And when I said he was accused of witchcraft, he legit was making the sick better with like magic and gross suspicion. So yeah, that was kind of true. The Lord / Baron Abagor is better known as the Bloody Baron in the Slytherin house. Muriel Warren is known as Moaning Myrtle or Myrtle Elizabeth Warren, and her murder was discovered. It was the basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets. And Petey the poltergeist, my favorite, is Peeves the poltergeist. If you've read or listened to the books, you are familiar with Peeves. Fun fact: Peeves the poltergeist gained the name Peeve. Sorry, I'm like Petey and Peeve, because he was a pet peeve. So yeah. So I did the story for Harry Potter because I just finished my book for the 5th time, and I was like, hey, his birthday's coming out on the 31st. So happy 43rd birthday, Harry. Thanks for saving the world, the wizarding world and the muggle world. And that's all.
You really did get me, because I was like referencing, I'm like, oh, it's like Harry, like Gryffindor, and you're just like, oh yeah, like acting like you didn't get it, and it was like, I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm like overthinking this,
like
yeah. I was like, oh, really? I'm grasping at straws here.
Like Moaning Myrtle, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess like Muriel Myrtle, huh? Muriel Myrtle. I was so excited to do this.
If the Harry Potter fan is not excited about it, I guess. Oh, that was so good, Brie. Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy.
You're such
Happy
a butthead.
birthday, Harry. Happy birthday, Harry.
Happy birthday.
You're a wizard.
Happy
You're
birthday,
a wizard.
Harry.
Harry Potter. I have the girls saying Harry Potter all the time too, by the way. They go, Harry
Singing it?
Potter. No, they say,
Oh.
I have them say Harry Potter the way they do in the books. And so they say, Harry Potter.
Potter!
Potter. That's how Malfoy says it. Potter.
Gross.
Potter. Potter. Sorry. I'll stop.
So
Alright.
I am super excited about my story this week too, and I did not make it up.
Okay. True story.
So, yeah. You know how much I like Sisterwives, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do a story sort of related to the Sisterwives. So, I'm gonna do a quote first, and it says,
Okay.
"If the world knew what I was doing, they would hang me from a tree." And that was quoted from Warren Jeffs.
Who's that?
So my story is going to be about the FLDS, which
Okay.
stands for the fundamental. I forgot what it's meant for.
I was like, oh my God, you froze again. I was like,
So
fundamental.
the FLDS, it's Fundamental Latter-day Saints is what it stands for. The FLDS started back in the 1800s with a young man named Joseph Smith. Now, Joseph was about 14 years old when he had began to get visions. He talked about going into this wooded area over by his house and just getting bombarded with these visions. He said that
cool. Not cool.
Yeah, he said that an angel came to him and told him to go over to the spot in the ground, dig a hole, and in the hole will be a book of golden plates. So he does that. On the golden plates was a message. He would later
there
go
was
on
golden
to,
plates. Okay.
according to
Gotcha.
okay,
From the guy who had
so,
visions. Got it.
Yeah, the guy who had visions said that there were golden plates.
Okay.
He said he would later go to say that these transcribed the messages on the golden plates. He transcribed them into the English language, and that is where the Book of Mormon came from.
Oh, shiz.
So this is where he started to gain some followers, like thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people. These followers were like, "Bro, you're a prophet," and Warren Jeffs was like, "What? No!" And they were like, "Yeah, you're a prophet because like you can see visions and stuff." And he's like, "All right, if you say so."
All right.
So, they all believed that God was speaking straight to Joseph and that Joseph was relaying the messages to his people. So whatever Joseph Smith would say or order them to do, his followers would listen and do. Because it was like God telling them to do it, right?
Yeah.
So in the 1830s, that is when the Church of Christ was created. About Leon's crying to come in.
I hear.
And
Did you go get him?
in about 1841, because if I move my thing, my mic will come undone.
Oh, okay.
In 1841 is when Joseph started preaching about polygamy, which is where the pearl marriages, which was pearl marriages, and used a lot of references from the Bible, specifically the Old Testament. He stated in order to get into the celestial kingdom, you had to have at least 3 wives. And the more wives you had, the closer to God you would become.
Oh, wow.
And Joseph Smith's followers were like, heck yeah, I want to sit next to God. So the only thing was that if you did not have 3 wives, or you were not a sister of the 3 wives and you died, the man would not enter the kingdom, and the wives would actually become a servant.
Oh.
And so everyone's like, I want 3 wives. Or the women would be like, I want to be a wife of 3 wives at least. But Joseph Smith had to appoint you these wives. So you couldn't just go out and marry whoever you wanted. He had to make the decision.
Okay.
So in 1904, Utah passed a law stating plural marriage was illegal.
Can I
in
just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry. Why? I want to sit right next to God. I like God. I want to be up there with him, but I don't want to sit right next to him. Like, what
Why,
if I just
Brie?
want to sit like all by myself? Because I don't like sitting next to people. I want to sit like next to my family or from like my friends. Like you and I could go sit next to each other. Why do we have to sit next to God? Like I'll just go visit him every day or something. I'll go say, hey, what's up? Or like,
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, what's up, God? What's up?
Go bring him some sweet tea.
Like
something.
play like racquetball with him or something.
Yeah, like schedule a game or schedule some karaoke once a week or something. But like, I don't want to sit right next to him. I'm good with that. I'm
Cards
okay with
Against
that.
Humanity. That would be a good game to play with him. Like the godly version of Cards Against Humanity.
Nah,
you know,
God would probably be cool with it. He'd be cool with it. He
Gross.
wouldn't care.
So, like I said, in 1904, Utah passed a law stating plural marriage was illegal, and the religion actually agreed with the state. They wanted to agree with the government, and they stopped preaching about polygamy. So there was a split between the church because you had people that wanted to stay in these plural marriages because they either still believed in polygamy or they didn't want their families to be torn apart. And then you had the other people that were like, nah, we're going to obey the church and follow the state and do the right thing and do away with plural marriages. So there was a split in the church.
Okay.
Nothing too exciting happened after this split. There were people that still practiced FLDS and those who practiced LDS. So here's the difference between the two. FLDS, Fundamental Church of Latter-day Saints, practiced polygamy, and LDS, Latter-day Saints, did not practice polygamy.
All right.
Other than that, there's not a huge difference. Both of them use the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
So we're going to jump to 1986. A man named Rulon Jeffs was the president of the FLDS community. Rulon had 65 wives and roughly 60 children.
Oh my gosh.
Lots of sources say, different things, that he had more wives. But whatever. Rulon was known to his followers, other than his wives and his children, as Uncle Rulon. So if you were not...
You have so many kids and wives that they have to call you uncle. That's just too many. I'm sorry.
Rulon came up with the phrase called keep sweet. In 1991, it was recorded of what keep sweet means. He said, I want you all to understand the continual use of 2 words, keep sweet. It means to keep the Holy Spirit of the Lord until you are full of it. Only those who have it will survive the judgment of God, which are about to be poured out. Keeping sweet no matter what. It is a matter of life or death. As we approach the day of the great judgments that are to go over the earth, let us all keep it. You do not turn it off and on. It must be a permanent thing in our very nature and a part of our character. So basically, he's saying you have to keep sweet or you're going to face the wrath of God and God's judgment. You have to always be kind, have no bad days, and listen and obey.
Hands. Sorry, you're done.
So 65 wives and thousands of followers that are believing this and following what he's saying. Like, have no bad, like, you literally can't have a bad day though, Brie. Like, if something that you're, this goes so much more deeper than like trying to just always like have a good positive attitude. It's, if you're upset with your husband about something, like, just smile and say, yes, dear. instead of confronting him about it.
That's a
So-
lie.
Yeah. So these
And
people of the
unhealthy.
Yeah, exactly. But the people of the FLDS lived on a compound. They were self-sustaining. There were men that would work outside of it, and actually the entire police force was all FLDS police officers.
Oh, wow.
So if you had an issue with the community, calling the cops was not the way to go about it.
You're
they
probably
were-
related to them.
Probably. They were taught only what the church wanted them to know, and there was no interaction from the outside world or society at all unless you're a man and you're working outside of the community.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't vote. They didn't know who the president was. They didn't know what was going on in the politics. They didn't know if there was a war going on. They didn't know anything like that. All they knew was what the church taught them and was telling them. The young girls were taught about being wives, and they were kind of treasured. For the boys, though, their situation was very different. You were being raised knowing that you need to marry and have multiple wives, and if each man had at least 3 wives, and there isn't enough women to go around, so the church would look for any reason to kick these boys out of the compound. You disobeyed your parents, you're gone, exiled. Looking at a girl wrong, exiled. There's actually a group of boys that formed that were all kicked out, and they're called the Lost Boys. Some of them were as young as 14 years old that got kicked out of the compound and exiled. Left on the side of the road to figure out life on his own.
And the parents didn't do anything about it?
Nope, the parents wouldn't talk to them. The siblings wouldn't talk to them. They were nothing to the family, completely exiled from everything.
That is so
and
messed
according
up.
to the, I know, and according to the church, they also would be damned an eternity to hell for being kicked out of the church.
What a load of
So-
crap.
The boys also would learn manual labor at a young age, running tractors and building as young as 8 years old, which the girls would also learn like household chores, how to sew, cook, all that sort of stuff. But the main goal was to grow up and get married and have a bunch of babies. The schooling these children got was very minimal. The only history that they learned was the history of the church. And oh my gosh, Brie, their clothes. So the women had to wear dresses, and their hair had to be long. And I'm sure you've seen these type of people in the stores. So they can be they're dressed very similar to Mennonites. It's the long dresses or skirts with the blouses,
Yep.
and they have long hair. But there's the Mennonites dress just very similar to them also.
Right.
The women were to obey their husbands, and the men were to work and give all the money back to the church. 70% of the FLDS community was also on welfare, so they were getting food stamps, healthcare, and whatnot through the state. But they weren't paying taxes, so they weren't
That's
giving.
fair.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound legal.
So to backtrack a little bit, in 1955, Rulon had a son. Obviously, I'm sure he had multiple sons that year.
Yeah.
He had a son that was born. He was born 2 months premature, and that is Warren Jeffs. Have you heard of Warren Jeffs before?
Mm-mm. No.
I will say that Sisterwives, they despise him.
Oh, okay.
But Warren Jeffs would go on to be one of Rulon's favorite son. Rulon taught Warren everything he needed to know on how to be a prophet. He did everything his dad did and learned. Warren would go on to graduate the high school that he went to, and then he became the principal at just 21 years old, because that's what you do when you're the prophet's favorite son.
Right.
At the Alta Academy, which was the FLDS's private school that they ran, Warren was allegedly just as strict, if not stricter, than his father. He got the power. He's got this power over the children now. And it was actually discovered many years later that Warren was pulling boys out of class and molesting them in the bathroom.
Ew.
He was also calling girls to his office, or calling girls out of the classroom and having them sit on his lap in the office.
Oh.
And it was reported that he would also sexually assault them. And when I say little, I mean like as little, young as 5 years old.
Oh my gosh, you piece of garbage.
And he would say things like, "You have to do this. It is God's will."
It's like a funny
Which
uncle.
obviously, well, this is Warren Jeffs. He's not the uncle.
No, I know, but that's sometimes what they would call like men
whoa,
who molested in
yeah.
their family. Funny
Yeah.
uncle.
This obviously terrified the children because they're being preached to keep sweet. So you got to
They
keep
can't
sweet.
complain about it.
Mm-hmm. So in 2002, Rulon Jeffs passed away, with all of his wives right beside his side, and his son Warren ready to slip into his spot. So Rulon's followers were like, "Wait, Rulon told us he was going to live to 150 years old, and he's only 92." But Brie, instead of thinking logically, they literally thought he was going to come back to life. Like,
Oh, man.
Yeah. So Warren was like seeing these people that were like not accepting him as a new prophet. And he was like, "People, my people, Rulon has reincarnated through me." And they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
That's why we can't see him.
Yeah. So, they just ended up accepting him as the new prophet. Then Warren was like, "I'm going to marry all of my dad's wives," which was like really cringy because Warren, most of these ladies raised you.
Yeah, I was about to say that was like his mom's.
And now, yeah. And so I just lost my spot. And now he is like, "I'm going to bed with them." And everyone's
Ew.
not. And everyone was just like okay with it because they didn't want to go to hell. So they're like, "Okay,
Stupid.
Warren.
Keep sweet.
Keep sweet." Warren was very, like I said, a lot more strict than his dad. He came in and changed things. In 2003, he bought his new piece of property. And it would later be named the Yearning of Zion Ranch, and it was a 1,700 square acre piece of property. He told the state that this was going to be a hunting retreat, which obviously it's not going to be. But what they did was build a whole new compound to move the people over to. This is when Warren told his people they needed to sell their businesses, they need to sell their houses that were on the compound, and they need to sell everything and move here to Zion Ranch because the end of the world was coming. And they're like, "Oh no, so let's go to Zion Ranch."
Yeah, that'll solve everything.
It was, and if you were not going to be on this ranch and serving the Lord by the way of serving the prophet with everything you have in it, you were going to be damned to the fiery pits of hell.
Even though
So
you did
his
all this
people
other stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bunch of
And
bull.
so the people listened. They sold everything they had, a little bit of anything, literally everything that they had to move to this compound. Warren also required the women to wear their hair. So they already had a strict dress code, but now he's requiring the women to wear their hair in French braids. And they were wearing dresses or like a skirt, but now it had to be floor-length dresses and long sleeves dresses, and like you like a turtle, like the
Oh my
it comes up to your
gosh.
neck. So the children were not allowed to color or look at picture books. The colors that were allowed on the compound were very neutral colors. He just had very strict rules. So they built a 29,000 square foot temple. In 2008, there was 462 children, 25 mothers under the age of 18 years old, 53 girls between the age of 14 and 17 years old that were married.
Oh my gosh.
Inside the temple, there was a bed that was at the front of the like an altar, and when a woman were to marry her husband, they would go in front of the congregation, and the husband would then rape his wife. And I'm saying rape because most of these wives were under the age of 18 years old,
Oh
as young
my
as 14
gosh.
years old, actually.
Is this legal? Because it's religion?
No,
Okay.
It's not legal.
Oh my
So
god, that is sick.
yeah. There was also a vault inside the temple where Warren Jeffs actually recorded and documented everything that he did, along with this journal, along with the journals he kept, including any sexual relations he would do with each of his wives. This included a wife that was just 12 years old who he
Oh.
got pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ew.
My stomach's hurting.
That's gross.
Sorry.
It's good.
Oh, my stomach hurts. I hate this story, but I love it. So Warren also would gather all of his wives around while he performed these acts, and they would watch him do it. There were also these men that were chosen by Warren who were called seed bearers. Seed bearers. Can you take a guess of what that is?
Oh my gosh, they planted their seeds in the
Yep.
women.
Yep. So
Oh my gosh, they're not a farm.
ba-
This is like a baby farm, like 2.0.
So basically they're thoroughbreds of the compound. These were the men that Warren wanted more of their bloodline from. So these men would go
We're
around
not
and
breeding
just
people. Oh my god.
these men, this is like in 2008, right, Brie?
Oh
This is
my
like
gosh.
this was recent. Yeah. I'm trying to find what year. Anyways, this is very recent. So they would these men would go around and decide which woman they wanted to impregnate. And if the woman was married, she didn't have a choice. She had to carry his child, or that man's child. And if you thought it couldn't get worse, her husband, if she was married, had to sit by the bed and hold his wives while these men performed their acts on the woman.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So in 2004, Warren Jeffs told a 14-year-old girl that she was to marry her cousin. And she begged and pleaded her parents. She's like, I do not want to marry this man. This my cousin is a terrible person. Just firstly. Secondly, I don't want to get married so young. Thirdly, she hated her cousin. She even went to Warren himself and begged him to call off the marriage. Warren said, nope, you have to marry your cousin, too bad. So she did what any young girl would do in this situation, and she ran away. She ran away and told the cops, and a warrant was issued for Warren's arrest.
Okay.
This triggered Warren to go on the run. He traveled everywhere while his followers, wives, and children stayed behind, praying for him and sending him money. He was literally living his best life on the run. And also, he became the in the top 3 of the America's Most Wanted list.
Whoa.
We know someone that was on that list.
We do.
But he eventually was pulled over on a routine traffic stop in August 2006 in Nevada. Warren was pulled over driving a 2007 red Cadillac Escalade. He had 4 computers on him, over $50,000 worth of cash. He had one of his wives with him, which I think she should be arrested also. 16 cell phones, 3 wigs, and all sorts of different types of disguises.
Oh my gosh.
So he was booked, and this guy is running the church out of jail now. His followers are visiting him. He's writing letters, receiving letters, writing books. In 2008, a woman who was actually making a... He's meowing so loud.
He's okay.
He's probably like under the crack, like,
Yeah.
Mom! In 2008, a woman who was actually making a prank call to the domestic violence hotline saying she was 16 and being forced to marry someone at gunpoint or something like that. The police at the time didn't realize it was a prank, but they were able to get a warrant to search the compound. This is where they found the 12-year-old girl that was pregnant.
Oh my
They were
gosh.
able to get the DNA of the baby, which obviously matched Warren's DNA. They found all of his videos and journals that he had in his vault. Lots of interviews were conducted, which not everyone was willing to cooperate because they're like, this is the church, you can't get involved sort of thing. But they were able to get enough evidence on the guy, and he was finally sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. He
Good.
also tried not eating, and he went into a coma for a little bit because he was starving himself. But he's still
Only hurting
controlling a lot of. He's still controlling a lot of the church from prison. In 2019, one of his sons came out and said that his dad would sexually assault him, and that his son ended up taking his own life because he couldn't take the agony anymore of living with that thought that his father sexually assaulted him. So the documentary that I watched, which I actually didn't use a lot of the information given in the documentary. I'm going to use some of it, but the documentary that triggered me to watch or to do this story was it's on Netflix, I think, or maybe it's Discovery Plus, but it's called Keep Sweet.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I whenever you said Keep Sweet earlier, I was like, oh snap, this is like a cult story. I've always wanted to watch it. Now I'm definitely gonna watch it now.
You should watch it. There's a ton of stuff that I didn't even cover because it would be way too long.
Such a big story. Oh,
It
love a
is.
good cult story.
I know. I haven't done a cult one in a while.
I mean, it's not really a cult, is it? I mean, it is.
Oh yeah,
it is.
It's definitely a cult.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's terrible. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And
Dude.
this story is so much bigger than what I just shared. There's children that have gone out, and there's so many different charity and rehab type of places that people that are trying to escape can go to because they will help them escape. And it is such a huge topic in the FLDS or in the LDS religion. And the Sisterwives, they talk about Warren Jeffs, and they talk about Joseph Smith, who was the original founder of the religion and stuff like that. They talk about Joseph Smith a lot. And they also celebrate his birthday, which is kind of weird. But they celebrate Joseph Smith, the founder's birthday.
Right.
But it's such a fascinating story.
Yeah.
It's just so much. I could go
Holy
on for days about
cow.
this.
I
Yeah.
have to watch this. I like every time I'm scrolling, I'll see it, and it's just not been the right time yet. And I kind of want Josh to watch it because I know Josh, like he says he doesn't want
Oh,
to watch stuff like
yeah.
this, but he would totally get into it, like the Jeffrey Dahmer. He would
Oh, yeah.
definitely get. It's just fascinating, like you said. It's
It
like
is. It's
crazy that
fascinating.
people actually like live like this.
And people still
or
are.
give
There's
into
still
this.
people.
Yeah, exactly. That's
there's
what it
still
sounds like. It
people
sounds like it's still
in
going
this-
on.
It is. And people still haven't left. And it's like, how are you not?
Like,
How?
go. Like, what did they have them locked up? No, you're not locked up. Just leave.
Just leave.
Their families, though, probably.
No, there's in the documentary, they actually talk about there's one lady in particular that tried to leave multiple times and they kept catching her and like making her stay. So
Oh my gosh. Why can't, like, the police get involved?
I am not 1,000% sure.
I wonder if it's because it's with religion and involves, because, like,
But if
we have
you're,
freedom of
but
religion.
that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
it's
if
not,
it's a
like-
religion or not.
I mean, I guess it's illegal to hold someone captive, and
That's
it's also
called
illegal to
kidnapping.
rape people, and
Yeah.
and it's also illegal to, like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's not right. Wow, that was a good one. That was really good. You haven't done a cult one in a while.
Ooh.
I loved
Anyways,
it. I can't wait to watch.
what's your
that
neighborhood
one.
story? Yeah, you gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
dear God, let's finish this. Hopefully, you guys have not heard, but me or Amy are going to have to edit the crap out of this episode because lots of skipping with this new program.
Yeah.
We've got to play around with it. Okay, so could everyone be quiet for a few days? I need to catch up on some sleep. Boom, boom.
It's so silly.
That's all. Did I
Also
already
same.
post that?
Yeah, we've shared that one before.
Oh, may have had. Whoops. I just realized it says Mount Pleasant, and I was like, I remember like talking about Mount Pleasant because I used to live near Mount Pleasant in South Carolina. That's
It's okay.
fine. Let's all
Don't
get
worry
some
about
sleep.
it.
Dear God, let's end this. I don't want to end this with this, but we got to do what we got to do.
Anyways, we
Okay.
will see you guys later.
Yeah,
or
I gotta go
talk to you
bathe
guys
my
later.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and my mom also said that you don't need to apologize to her on the podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Candy. Sorry. I mean, sorry. Anyway.
Anyways, have you checked on the neighbors?
What's with the neighbors? Breed.
Bring Amy
Breed
out.
Amy out.
Oh. Say hi to your cats for us.
Meow. Don't get dead.